From the chaos of a dying republic, one man rose to forge an empire that would echo through eternity. He wasn't born a king, but he became more powerful than any king before him. This is the story of Caesar Augustus, the first and perhaps the greatest of all Roman emperors. Our story begins not with a throne, but with a tragedy. In 44 BC, the mighty Julius Caesar was assassinated, plunging Rome into a vortex of civil war and political chaos. The Roman Republic, which had stood for nearly 500 years, was tearing itself apart. From the ashes of this turmoil stepped an unlikely figure, a sickly 18-year-old boy named Gaius Octavius. Born in 63 BC, Octavius was Caesar's grandnephew. Few in Rome gave him a second glance. He was young, inexperienced, and lacked the military prowess of his contemporaries. But Caesar had seen something others missed. In his will, Caesar not only left Octavius a vast fortune, but more importantly, he adopted him as his son. Overnight, Gaius Octavius became Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus, or as we'll call him, Octavian. He was now the heir to the most powerful name in Rome, but a name alone couldn't secure power. Rome was a viper's nest of ambition. The city was controlled by powerful generals and senators, including Caesar's right-hand man, Mark Antony, who saw himself as the rightful successor. Octavian, however, was a political prodigy. He was cunning, patient, and utterly ruthless when he needed to be. He used his inheritance to pay the bonuses Caesar had promised his soldiers, winning the loyalty of crucial legions. He understood that in Rome, loyalty was bought, and armies were the ultimate currency. Realizing he couldn't defeat his rivals alone, Octavian made a shrewd, if temporary, alliance. In 43 BC, he formed the Second Triumvirate with Mark Antony and another powerful general, Marcus Aemilius Lepidus. Their stated goal was to hunt down Caesar's assassins and restore order. Their real goal was absolute power. They unleashed a brutal wave of proscriptions, executing thousands of political opponents and seizing their wealth to fund their armies. 1 year later, at the Battle of Philippi, their combined forces crushed the armies of Brutus and Cassius, Caesar's leading assassins. With their common enemies gone, the triumvirate began to fracture. The Roman world was carved up between them. Lepidus was sidelined to Africa, while the two titans Octavian and Antony were set on a collision course. Octavian took control of the West, consolidating his power in Rome and Italy. Antony took the East, establishing his base in Alexandria, Egypt, where he famously began a political and romantic alliance with Queen Cleopatra. While Antony lived a life of perceived Eastern luxury, Octavian masterfully played the role of the traditional Ramau. He launched a brilliant propaganda campaign, portraying Antony as a puppet of a foreign queen, a man who had abandoned his Roman heritage. He painted their inevitable clash, not as another civil war, but as a defense of Rome itself against a foreign threat. The tension escalated until it finally broke. The final confrontation came in 31 BC at the naval Battle of Actium off the coast of Greece. It was one of the largest naval battles in ancient history. Octavian's fleet, commanded by his brilliant admiral Marcus Agrippa, outmaneuvered and decisively defeated the combined forces of Antony and Cleopatra. The lovers fled back to Egypt, but their cause was lost. Octavian pursued them, and a year later, both Antony and Cleopatra took their own lives, leaving Octavian as the undisputed master of the entire Roman world. At just 32 years old, Octavian had won the game. The civil wars that had plagued Rome for a century were finally over. But now he faced his greatest challenge: how to rule. The Romans had a deep-seated hatred of kings. To declare himself a monarch would be to share the same fate as his adoptive father, Julius Caesar. So Octavian performed his greatest political masterpiece. He orchestrated a grand display of modesty and tradition. In 27 BC, he stood before the Senate and announced that he was restoring the Republic. He claimed to be returning all his extraordinary powers back to the Senate and the people of Rome. It was a political illusion of the highest order. The grateful and relieved senators, desperate for peace and stability, begged him to stay. They showered him with honors and titles, chief among them the name Augustus, meaning the revered one. They also granted him control over the most important provinces and their armies. He had become an emperor in all but name. He called himself Princeps, or First Citizen, creating the illusion that he was merely the first among equals. This new system of government, where the emperor held supreme power behind the facade of the old republic, became known as the Principate. It was a political settlement so clever that it would last for centuries. With his power secure, Augustus turned his attention to rebuilding the Roman world. His reign ushered in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace which would last for over 200 years. He declared, "I found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble." And this was no idle boast. He launched a massive building program, constructing magnificent temples, forums, aqueducts, and roads. He created Rome's first police force and fire brigade, making the city safer and more organized. His reforms extended far beyond the capital. He completely overhauled the empire's administration and finances, creating a more efficient and less corrupt system of taxation. He professionalized the Roman army, establishing permanent legions stationed on the frontiers to defend the empire's vast borders. He also created the Praetorian Guard, an elite unit of soldiers stationed in Rome, acting as the emperor's personal bodyguard, a force that would play a major role in imperial politics for centuries to come. Augustus also sought to heal the moral fabric of Rome, which he felt had been corrupted by decades of civil war. He promoted legislation that encouraged marriage and childbearing, and he revived ancient religious cults and traditions to restore a sense of Roman piety and virtue. He became a great patron of the arts, sponsoring a golden age of literature. Poets like Virgil, Horace, and Ovid flourished under his patronage, creating epic works that celebrated Rome's history and destiny. Virgil's Aeneid, in particular, was a national epic that traced Rome's origins back to the heroes of Troy, legitimizing Augustus's new order as the culmination of divine providence. But his reign was not without its personal tragedies. Despite his focus on family and succession, he outlived his chosen heirs one by one: his nephew Marcellus, his close friend and General Agrippa, and his own grandsons, Gaius and Lucius. The problem of succession haunted him. In the end, he was forced to adopt his stepson, Tiberius, a man he did not particularly like, but who was an experienced and capable general. In 14 AD, at the age of 75, after reigning for over 40 years, Augustus fell ill and died. His last words, spoken to those around his deathbed, were reportedly, "Have I played the part well? Then applaud as I exit." It was a fitting end for a man who had been the ultimate political actor, a man who had taken a shattered republic and transformed it into a stable and enduring empire. Upon his death, the Senate officially declared him a god, to be worshipped throughout the empire. He left behind a blueprint for imperial rule that would be followed for the next 1,400 years in both the Western and Eastern Roman empires. Augustus was more than just a conqueror. He was a state builder, a visionary who laid the foundations for a civilization that would shape the course of Western history. From the chaos of war, he forged an age of peace. From a city of brick, he built a city of marble. And from the ashes of a republic, he created an empire. Thank you so much for watching. If you're fascinated by the incredible figures who shaped our world, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more journeys into history. Let us know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see next. See you in the next one.